the lobbyists, if you look at the donations for legislators, members of the Freedom Caucus are some of the least funded people in the state house. They're below Democrats, they're below all the Republicans, because we're funded most of the time by constituents. And not a lot of these, the lobbyist groups don't give us a dime. Or some of them, maybe some of the more conservative ones might give a couple of us, but most of my members are the least funded people. So they're the ones that are the hardest to buy off. So of course they want to get rid of us, especially if you can't buy us off and we're growing and we're actually impacting policy. I mentioned earlier before we started doing the podcast about the amendment to the ARPA money, the Biden bucks, ARPA money that was coming down. We got an amendment forced through that prohibits any legislator from benefiting from those funds. And a bunch of Republicans were like, "Oh, we don't need this. Why are you trying to do this? You're doing this amendment for show." And I was like, "No, we're just trying to." In the past, some senators specifically, but House members too, have gone and fought for this money to go to certain projects, and then used entities that they own.
And yet they still oppose it with the argument that it's not happening now.
But they opposed it, but then they changed their mind because they didn't want to vote on the board. So everybody overwhelmingly supported it, and my amendment passed, and everybody was so happy.
Awesome.
Well, then some establishment members told me, some leadership told me, afterwards, 2 different members came up and were furious because now they can't work on the project that they wanted. One to do the exits off the highway, and one, and I was like, and they literally just told us on the floor, "This is silly. This doesn't happen." And then people are furious, yelling at leadership for letting it pass because they weren't
precisely
make money off of
proving that it happened.
Yeah, and I guess that's what I've learned over the last specifically year as we've really fought and pushed on these issues. Every time they tell us, "This isn't the way it's done. This isn't how you should do it. This isn't happening," like the CRT thing. "This isn't happening in schools." But then when we actually start passing the bill, all the liberal establishment freaks out. Why? Because it is happening. I mean, we have somebody on video who came in to teach teachers, and she says, "I'm looking for co-conspirators to figure out how to break state law and indoctrinate kids." Like, it's on video.
So it is happening.
So it absolutely is happening. And so I guess the point of the Freedom Caucus is, as simple as I can say it, is to actually live up to the things, the campaign promises of things that we said we were going to do when we ran. When I ran for office, I knocked on 4,000 doors. You interviewed my brother, Alan Morgan.
Yes.
He just knocked on all those doors. And people told us over and over again, we want somebody to go down there and fight. Like, fight for our values, fight for South Carolina, fight for our tax money, and like hold people accountable, and don't just go along with the way things have always gone in South Carolina, because we have problems. We have the highest tax rate in the Southeast. We have no school choice. We have weaker abortion laws than purple neighbors like Georgia and North Carolina. I mean, our fiscal house is completely in disarray. On almost any objective way of measuring conservative values, we're behind. So status quo is not okay. And so we're just here to call out, even in a confrontational way when we have to. Call out when the Republican supermajority is not living up to,
its constituents.